Hello everyone and welcome back to Starship Traveller. When we last left off, we just talked to some Klebans. We arrived at the planet Kleba, which is quite primitive compared to our standards, and we have discovered that they are afflicted by several problems, trials and tribulations, which we can we can try to resolve, we can try to aid them, or we can just, not give a damn about them and go away. But we are not so evil. Instead, we are supposed to spread civility and, the idea of friendship and helping hand, supposedly. So, what we are going to do is we are going to try to tackle both of these challenges one by one. I think the more immediate one is the disease, and since we are here in the village, right? So the Rain Lord is somewhere like 2 hours journey from this village, so that's going to have to wait for now. So we are going to ask our medical officer, our trusted medical officer Diane, to see what can be done for the sick. Alternatively, we could still ask them about their knowledge of astronomy, which I'm pretty sure is bogus, so we are not going to select this option. And we could still offer to directly go to the Rain Lord, but I hope that we can, select both of these paths, one after the other. So let's try to tend to the sick. Medical officer Diane is taken round some of the huts to see whether anything can be done. Okay. So we must roll an attribute test, a skill attribute test for her. She has a skill level of 11, so this should be an easy roll, and it absolutely is. She succeeds deftly because she's an excellent medical officer. In fact, she has the highest skill stat of our 3 experts. So she's in her own field the best crew member we have. Conditions are very primitive. Medical officer Diane notices that many of the aliens have a fever and tries a drug which appears to bring their fever down. The aliens are grateful for our help. Okay, that was easy, easier than expected. Let's continue to explore the village. We don't have any other options, so let's go for it. Medical officer Diane returns and complains of feeling unwell. Oops. Alright. She may have contracted the disease, whatever disease these creatures had. Let's see if we are lucky. And we are. Okay, the luck roll was a success, and the feeling soon passes, and medical officer Diane recovers after a brief rest. Whew, okay. I suppose that if we had failed this roll, then she would have contracted the disease, and that could have been cause for alarm. But it seems that everything is fine and dandy, so let's discuss what to do next. We may now either return to the ship to continue our voyage, or offer to contact the Rain Lord to see if we can help them with their weather problem. Now, we already discussed what we are going to do. Why would we run away? We are in no danger whatsoever. This is a no-brainer choice. We are going to walk to this Rain Lord and see if we can resolve their weather problem. Following their directions, we head towards the hills to visit the Rain Lord's castle. After some 15 minutes walk, we see a large building in the distance, and it takes us another 15 minutes to reach it. Evidently, a walk which takes us half an hour would take the aliens much longer at their sluggish pace. That's right, they're slow little creatures like that. We reach the gate, and we can see an armed guard barring the way. Now, supposedly this is a cruel god or creature of power that is punishing them for whatever reason with this downpour, but other than the word of these creatures, we don't have any solid evidence for this, so we are not going to start by shooting the guard. We could probably overpower him very easily, but again, I don't think we're in any danger, because this planet seems to be very primitive. So let's try to talk to the guard first, and we can still shoot him if we feel the need to do so. The guard sees us and flurries into action. Raising its head in the air, it lets out a shrill whistle. Seconds later, We look up to see that we are surrounded by alien guards, all with weapons pointed at us. Okay, that might not have been a good idea, but we have no option now but to surrender to the guards, and let's see where that takes us. We are escorted into the castle towards a central keep, apparently the nerve center of the castle. We explain that we wish to meet the Rain Lord. One of our guards goes off to the keep and comes back some moments later. Another group of guards comes over to take us inside the keep. Okay, so far we're still alive, we haven't been harmed or robbed or stripped of our weapons or anything, so this seems to be working out fine. Let's hope that the Rain Lord is just as hospitable as these creatures are. As we enter, our eyes widen. We are not in a great hall or perhaps stateroom we had been expecting, but in a large computer complex. The walls are lined with sophisticated control panels covered in gauges, dials and indicator lights. In the center of the room, behind a large screen flanked with a number of keyboards, sits a human figure. As we approach, this figure turns round on his chair. Okay, so this Rain Lord turns out to actually be kind of a really powerful figure. I presume he has the capability of controlling the weather, so he's not only a creature born out of superstition, but truly can be a god for these primitive little creatures. Now we just need to talk to him and see why he's punishing these poor little wretches with a constant flood. Maybe the guy's crazy or something. I don't know, but let's speak to him first before doing anything else. Not that we have any other option. Aha! Our intruders! Chuckles the small man sitting at the controls. Perhaps you may be able to help with our little problem. But firstly, I thank you for your peaceful approach. Please accept this small token of my gratitude. He gives us a strange triangular crystal device. This transdimensional compass may be of use. Not enough to, say, guide a starship, but useful for a single person. It may prove useful. Yes, you have said that like 3 times. Anyway, we obtain a transdimensional compass, whatever that may be, seemingly for free, so progress, and so far so good, I guess. And also this man does not seem to be hostile, so let's hear what else he has to say. Let him continue his story. The man calls himself Bran Sal. We introduce ourselves and tell him our story. I may be able to help, Captain Slayer, says Bran Sal, if you are able to help me first. He goes to explain that many years ago he was an interstellar trader carrying a cargo of sophisticated planet control computers to Glina 3 in another sector of this galaxy. His warp drive failed, and he was forced into orbit around this planet. He was able to contact Glina 3 to explain the delay, but they would take no excuses and cancelled his order. Cancelled the order. Thus, he was left with his cargo and no buyer. Facing financial ruin if he returned home, he decided to settle on this planet. Through his advanced knowledge, he was quickly hailed as a sort of god by the inhabitants, who built him a castle in which he could set up his planet-controlled equipment. Since then, he has indeed acted as a god and, by his own account, a benevolent one at that. However, some time ago he discovered a malfunction in the weather planning system, which meant that he no longer had control over the weather. As the climate was normally very damp, the years of fine weather he had provided for the benefit of the inhabitants' crops had resulted in huge reserves of rain being stored in the planet's clouds. As soon as control was lost, a torrential downpour started. If you have any knowledge of planet control systems and can help me get back control of the weather, I am sure the computer's knowledge of astronomy will be able to help you get back to your own universe, promises the little man. Well, I'm not sure of that, to be honest. He seems to actually be a benevolent little guy, and I'm pretty sure he wants to help us if we help him. But I'm not sure that he has the information we seek. But in any case, we are here to save the little Klebans and their weather and their crops. So the only option we have to proceed is to ask Science Officer Tommy B, because he's here with us, to call him in and to assist us with his awesome knowledge of everything scientific. Maybe he can solve this little riddle for us. Scrutinizing the planet's control systems, Science Officer Tommy B studies the complex programming of the strange machinery. Hopefully, he will be able to restore the planet's weather back to normal. Let's hope so. Let's see if it works out. And it does. He passes the skill check. He rolled a 7 and he needed to roll a skill of 9 or below to succeed. So hopefully he's successful with this. Science Officer Tommy B takes a dump of the weather control program back to the ship to try to analyze it on the ship's computer. It has been written in a strange language, but the computer is able to give some insight into its logic patterns. Tommy B alters it slightly and runs the modified program. Within a few moments, the rain dies down. Brancel is delighted and offers to use his computer to search for a suitable black hole to transport us back to our own universe. The computer locates several such black holes. Unfortunately, it cannot distinguish between them, but it is able to tell us that we will have to travel towards it at warp speed 3 to effect the transfer successfully. We thank Brancel for his help. Okay, what an adventure we just had. We have managed to cure some of these poor Klebans, and we also helped out Brancel and the whole planet, it seems. I say this is a great day. We have been true heroes, and we also obtained some information which might or might not come in handy, as well as a transdimensional compass. So that's great progress, great success. There is nothing else left for us to do here, so let's beam up. We leave orbit and probe with our scanners for likely destinations. Some 3.3 light years away is a large red planet which we can head towards. And Diane, who is successfully returned from our trip, heals up, patches up Andy a bit more, so Andy is almost back at maximum stamina levels. Nobody got hurt in this adventure. We didn't get into any battle, so that's really great. And one more successful trip and everybody is back to maximum health. Alright, let's set course for the large red planet, the only planet that is in the relative vicinity that we can go for. We switch to warp drive and head towards the red planet. As we reduce from warp speed, we approach a small grey planet. Alright, we could continue onwards to our original destination, but as I've stated, we want to see everything that this parallel universe has to offer. So first we are going to enter orbit around this one, and hopefully we can still proceed on towards our original destination. So hopefully this is just a side mission or a side adventure. The planet appears to have no life on it, but scanners detect some sort of activity, perhaps the regular workings of a machine. We decide to investigate and send out a party in a recon plane to see what is happening. They pilot the plane to the area of the signal and land on the planet. It is rocky and barren, but not far from where they have landed, they find a scout ship of a type they have never come across before, crashed into the surface. And this is a sight to behold. It's actually quite picturesque, if I may be so bold as to say so. I don't think this planet itself is interesting, but this scout ship might clearly be. So let's try to investigate this ship further. Let's see if it works out. They can find no signs of the pilot. Perhaps he has died or was killed in the crash. An automated signal, probably a type of mayday call, is being transmitted by the ship's radio. There is nothing else to see on the planet, so our crew return to the recon plane and fly back to the ship. Alright, this was an interesting little adventure, right? We found this little scout plane, nothing on it. We didn't have any options to select from, so it's not like we missed out on any potential path. We just visited it, and that's it really. found nothing, and we're flying back home. Alright? Landing the recon plane, the party make their way to the briefing room to report to us. As they relate their findings, we are interrupted suddenly with an urgent message. Captain, we have just lost 3 of our engineering personnel who were involved with docking the recon plane. Recon plane. They are all dead. Wow, okay, so I guess this adventure still is going on. Okay, what could have happened? Let's see, let's not be too hasty about it. We have 3 options to choose from. We could put the landing party into quarantine in the medical section. We could seal off the docking bay, or we could jettison the recon plane. So let's analyze these options a bit. It's possible that something has taken control over the minds of the landing party, and if that is the case, then the first option is the correct one. It is also possible that the recon plane is dangerous in any way, in some way, or there is something that came aboard our Sylvana with this recon plane. Now, I don't think that it's the crew and personnel, and if it is, then we can still overpower them easily. I mean, we outnumber them now, and we should be on our guard. So I'm going to scratch the first option. And out of the other 2, both sound reasonable, but if it is, for instance, a creature of some sort that came aboard, then it might have reached the recon plane, and also we don't want to lose our recon plane. We have finite resources aboard the Sylvana, as we have just realized quite painfully with the food situation. So instead, I'm going to steal off the docking bay. Hopefully, if it's a creature, we can lock it in and see where we are from there. Quickly, the crew seal off the affected area so as to prevent the spread of this unknown killer. No more deaths are reported. Okay, great, so that was a correct solution. It seems that we have contained the problem, although not yet solved it, so let's consult with our medical team. Using an EVA, an extra vehicular activity suit, so a space suit, Medical Officer Diane examines the body of one of the victims. She finds that the man has been poisoned. The planet below must have some sort of poisonous gas in its atmosphere, and this has now been carried back to the ship. Wow, okay. Now there are 2 options that we can go for. We could evacuate the air from all the affected sections. That sounds like a good idea. Or we could order Medical Officer Diane to search for an antidote. I think both of these would solve our problem. It's clearly not a creature that's aboard. It's just, you know, air. So gases. So both of these would present us with solutions, but if we order Diane to create an antidote, first of all we give her something to do, and second, if we ever come across this poison again, or in any form, then we will have an antidote, if we are successful, obviously. So this could give us something of an edge, and so I'm going to select this one. We wait impatiently for Medical Officer Diane to return from the medical section. Hopefully, she will be able to succeed in creating an antidote for the crew, and she's extremely skilled, so I would be surprised if she doesn't, and of course she does. Medical Officer Diane comes up with a possible antidote and injects herself. She goes down to the docking bay without an EVA suit and waits. An hour later, she has still not shown any signs of illness. The antidote has worked. Wow, great. Okay, so this was, I think, the better solution out of the 2, and it seems that we have successfully passed this obstacle as well. Let's report to the medical section for treatment. Okay, I guess what happened is that everybody got a shot of the antidote, and we are no longer in danger of this gas. We should probably remember that we have some poison gas on the ship. But anyway, we have moved on. This is great. Let's move on. Back on the bridge, we set our course. Ahead, there are 2 planets. There is a large red planet, the one that we originally were heading towards, I guess. There is a small blue, well, not small but blue planet, obviously smaller than the one the red one, because it's not stated to be that large. Or we could alternatively set course for a small fast moving spot with signs of life. Okay, um, I guess that this small fast moving spot is a spaceship or a space fleet. We are not interested in meeting space fleets. Our only encounter with them was pretty lackluster. We released the Eagle, at least that was fun, but apart from that it was not very engaging or useful for us, advantageous for us. So instead we are going to set course for one of the planets, but before we do so, I think it's a great time to make the cut of the video right here. I thank you all for watching, and I'll see you all next time when we visit the blue planet. Bye bye.